What's going on, No Nation? It's CJ Wilson here with Double Talk. I am your host. Hope you guys had a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, all that type of deal. Hope you guys enjoy your New Year as that's approaching as well too. Well, speaking of New Year, FSU is trying to get active to start the 2025 year and try to put a cap in the bow on this first portion of the I guess you could say December portal window, that type of deal. So FSU is trying to put their final bow on a December portal class and lead into spring practice and try to see what they have going into the 2025 season. So I jump into it and talk about some early visits that FSU have lined up for some transfer portal prospects, like I said, for the early portion of the 2025 year. But before we get started, make sure you guys like this video. I know I keep saying the same thing, right? Like this video, keep pushing the Dope Talk algorithm throughout the YouTube network, and let like-minded Noles like yourself get a chance to view this type of stuff. And also subscribe to the channel if you haven't, man. Join the Dope Talk community, join the family, get all this information for the free, of course. Go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. All right, let's go ahead and jump right into it. FSU is going to be pretty busy to start the 2025 year, especially with transfer portal official visits to try to secure some commitments. First, we're going to talk about running back Rahsul Faison, really productive guy. Had over 1,100 yards this past season with Utah State, along with 8 touchdowns. Stands at 5'11", 200 pounds. He also had 736 yards and 5 touchdowns for the 2023 season. If you combine both seasons, 2023 and 2024, Faison has averaged 5.8 yards per carry within the last 2 years. Utah, Georgia, North Carolina are some of the other programs in contention to try to get a visit for Faison and try to lock down him to transfer to their school. Like I say, he's very productive, ultra explosive back. The production is there. And I don't think FSU, I'm pretty content with the running back room for FSU. I know most of our running woes or issues last year was just the offensive line, right? They're pretty much abysmal in run blocking situations. Some of the worst offensive line play that we've seen in FSU history. I do think Coach Herb Hanna has done a hell of a job in trying to address that room and bring in productive transfers with a lot of quality starts at high-level spots, playing high-level football to come in and try to fix the offensive line. But if you have a guy like Faison that you can try to add to your running back room, I think it's an absolute must that you try to do it. He brings a different element that we haven't seen within our running back room. He has nice bursts. He has great wiggle. He knows how to make a man miss one-on-one. That's something we rarely seen in the 2024 season for any FSU back. It was once they get in space and get into a one-on-one situation with the defender, we rarely made those guys miss. And to be a running back at FSU, you got to be able to make a guy miss in space. It's just what we've seen over the years. It's just what we've accustomed to. I mean, it's Florida State football, right? This is high-level football. Some of the best running backs in college football history have came through Florida State. So to be a guy for Florida State, you have to be able to make a guy miss in the hole, make one-on-one plays, so to speak. And Faison definitely does that, something we didn't really have last year within the running back room. So I'm excited to see if FSU could add a guy like Rahsul after this official visit, because he can really ignite the running game to a different level that we haven't seen before. Well, I'm not going to say haven't seen before, but something we missed within the 2023 season. Next up, let's go to the defensive line a little bit. Let's talk about Jayson Jenkins, 6'6", 280-pound defensive end transfer from the University of Tennessee. He recorded 9 tackles and 2 sacks for the Volunteers this past season. He was a rotational guy for Tennessee. Should have played more snaps, in my opinion, but that's neither here or there. He fits our system and what we need as far as a 3-3-5 defensive end edge guy, a bigger body guy. Like I said, 6'6", 280 pounds. And just looking at some of the Tennessee fans and message boards and things like that, they weren't very happy to see him leave. They thought he should have been playing a lot more snaps and has a lot of potential moving forward. So that's going to be interesting to see as far as, on FSU's side, if they can try to secure this visit. Well, not necessarily secure the visit. The visits are secured. Try to secure his commitment. FSU already has a defensive end locked in Deontay McCray, 6'4", 280-pound defensive end that transferred from Western Kentucky. So you have that. You add in a Jayson Jenkins. You have the body types you've been looking for a 3-3-5 type of defense as far as the defensive line is concerned. University of North Carolina, NC State, and Texas Tech are other teams in contention that are set to host Jayson Jenkins for a visit as well. So we'll see if Pop Rose and Tony and defensive coordinator Tony White can work their magic and try to secure the defensive, with a commitment for defensive end Jayson Jenkins. Let's stick on the defensive side of the ball. Something we needed to, I guess, boast a little bit more in the transfer portal. I think they're starting to focus on the defensive side of the ball a little bit more. Let's go to the linebacker position. This kid, I'm a big fan of, and Marques Watson-Trent. Marques Watson-Trent, transfer linebacker out of Georgia Southern, has one more year eligibility left. He's going to be taking an official visit to FSU on New Year's. Had 120 tackles this past season for the Georgia Southern Eagles with a PFF grade of 80.7 and a run grade of 88, which is very, very impressive, both grades. So he won the Sun Belt Defensive Player of the Year this past year. Like I said, he had over 120 tackles. And we talk about productive and consistency. Watson-Trent has had 100 tackles in each of the last 3 seasons. I'm going to repeat that one more time for the people that didn't hear me. Marques Watson-Trent has had 100 tackles in each of the past 3 seasons. So he has 365 tackles in his career, 27 tackles for loss, and 6 sacks within his career. Production, something we haven't seen. Hell, I guess of course you could say Tatum Bethune and Kalen DeLoach. Those are 2 very productive linebackers that we had for the 2023 season. Well, yes, for the 2023 season. But 2024, the linebacker room was very young. If you guys remember, DJ Lundy was the most experienced linebacker returning, but ended up having a season-ending injury and missed most of the season. So the returning production within the linebacker room, like I said, is very young, very raw, not a lot of production. So you bring in a guy like Marques Watson-Trent, who has been ultra productive during his time at University of Georgia Southern. West Virginia, Memphis are some of the other teams that are in contention for Watson's commitment. He is a bit undersized, coming in at 5'11", 220 pounds. But again, production. He has great instincts. He has production, and he's a violent hitter. And also, he's a great leader as well. He was the team captain for Georgia Southern as well too. Excuse me. So, ultra productive, team leader, captain, experience. Everything you want in a linebacker, a team player rather. Everything you want to come into a situation that FSU is coming into off of a two-loss season where it wasn't a lot of leadership you want in Marques Watson-Trent. So again, he's on the size, but I can give a damn about that damn size. We have 3 straight 100 tackle seasons. That tells me everything I need to know as far as your production and your consistency. Sticking at the linebacker position, FSU also will be hosting in the early portion of January Elijah Herring, the transfer linebacker from the University of Memphis. 6'2", 230 pounds, has 60 tackles, 16 pressures, 7.5 tackles for loss for the Memphis Tigers, along with 3.5 sacks and 2 forced fumbles. Again, very productive football player. Had a 69 grade for PFF and an 87.3 run grade, which is very, very strong. So again, production, size, whatever you need. So if you can close on a kid like Elijah Herring and Marques Watson-Trent, myself personally, I may do a backflip if we close on either one of those linebackers, because those are just what the doctor ordered as far as what we need for our linebacker room to fit with what we have returning with a few other linebackers that are within the room. So again, very productive linebacker in Elijah Herring, transferring from Memphis. Of course, we got to see him firsthand when he played against Florida State this past season when Florida State played the Memphis Tigers. He does have a visit set up for the Cal Bears at some point in time early in January. So we'll see if FSU can close on any of these guys that's going to be visiting early January, New Year's Day, that type of deal, to try to wrap up this December portal window. So Rahsul Faison, very productive elite running back out of the transfer portal. Jayson Jenkins, a body type that you desperately need as far as the defensive end position. Marques Watson-Trent and Elijah Herring, 2 very productive linebackers that could come in and make big-time plays for FSU. So we'll see if the staff can close, but it's very good to see these guys are being active in the transfer portal and trying to find needs in what fits for FSU moving forward for the 2025 season. Make sure you guys like this video and subscribe to the channel. We'll have more news coming, especially when these guys commit. So again, go Noles, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel.